Call this meeting order. Let the record show that all commissioners are present. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we don't have any minutes to approve. Anybody the forms are there for citizens' comments. Anybody want to speak today? I didn't get any, so okay. Okay, let's go now to item number 6, presentation. Today we have Mr. Humberto de Leon, owner of DH Billing, to discuss the fire relief billing. That's Karina's husband, right?
Yes, sir.
Come on up to the podium, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I don't think I brought enough food. I'll give some too, if you wish.
Okay.
And a little. Yes, like Judge said, my name is Humberto de Leon. I'm Corina de Leon's husband. I'm sorry she couldn't make it, but I'm here. We had a call from your fire department about 3 months ago, or in January, something like that. But he was telling me what happened. We've been doing this for 5 years, 6 years. We do Zapata County, LaSalle County. We do Dilley, Ensenada. We do the fire combined with their EMS. They have, about 7 ambulances in LaSalle County. Zapata has about 5. And private ambulance services too. And we had a call from Mr. Russ, and I came down here to let you know that we're able and willing to help you out if you need to have a billing service.
That would be billing the people that, like in car wrecks and stuff that we
Yes, sir.
respond to. That would be billing their insurances so we can recover our costs.
Most of the semi-trucks, that's a lot of accidents that happen. Usually they pay out of their pocket. They don't even want to go to an insurance company.
Mm-hmm.
The small accidents, like let's say my truck and your car,
Mm-hmm.
that's where it gets really difficult. The insurance company, they don't want to pay you. They have to, but they don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes, like in Dilley, what we did is we have a letter from the DA. It's kind of like a threat collecting, to the insurance company, and that's kind of a little bit faster. They'll pay attention to you.
Do y'all work on a percentage, or how do y'all work?
And when we start like in this, sometimes it's a 7% or a flat rate. Since you don't have ambulance
Mm-hmm.
with your county, it would probably be a flat rate, a monthly
What would you,
salary or whatever you want to call it.
y'all, you said you do for some other counties. What do you averagely collect for them now? About how much?
Well, like LaSalle County that has the ambulance,
Mm-hmm.
they were, we've been 2 years with them. They were collecting from the biller before us $40,000 a year. We got them up to $250,000. Zapata County does $650,000 a year.
Commissioner, is this what you
Yes.
talked about
Yeah.
last year, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you guys would, if there would be some ambulance here for the counties, that's.
Well, I mean, we have an ambulance service, but it's through the county hospitals. I mean, so that's separate. So what we're more interested in is trying to recover some of our costs for all of these responses and all that stuff. We spend a lot of time and money doing it, and it would be nice to recover some of that cost.
Yes, he was telling me, we have a list that, that, let's say LaSalle County uses for Dilley, that everything you can charge, or everything you're supposed to charge, you even charge the water you're taking.
Yeah.
You charge the phone, you charge per hour. How many firefighters were there?
Would it be to our benefit maybe for you to get with Jerry and just go back so many months?
Get an idea of what we're looking at, what that cost would have been had we done it correctly.
Does he have a?
Yeah, they keep
reports?
records. They keep records of all their responses and all that.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
I can take some, and then we'll kind of.
Yeah, if you could
See-
do that, and then,
Because he was telling me, I don't think you even have a kind of a list of what you're supposed to charge, do you?
no, if you can help us with that.
'cause
And then maybe,
you charge for everything.
But is the reimbursement statutory? It's in the statute, or is it something that the county has to come up with?
I can't answer that question, I don't know there.
It might be statutory, it might be just in the statute that you can go down the list.
yeah, and if we can get those together, and then would we need to, go out for bids on this, or would we need
It
to?
depends on what the statute says. It might be a professional contract, I'm not sure.
What kind of, most of the accidents do you have here, the semi-trucks?
It's automobiles, semi-trucks, it's a combination of stuff.
You got a lot of the oil field coming through here too, right?
Mhm.
Going up to Midland and
Mhm.
West Texas.
That's like what I'm saying, if we could get a period, and then go back and look at the accidents, that way we can get an idea.
Because the oil field companies, they pay you like that. In 30 days, you'll have your check. They don't care if it's 3,000, 5,000, 10,000. They just pay it.
Well, and the whole deal is, we're not collecting any of it right now, so.
This would be,
It's all good.
this would be an opportunity for us to generate some revenue for the
Yes.
fire department to be able to cover some of that cost. So if you and Jerry, like Commissioner Owens said, get together and kind of go through the list of what we've done in the last couple of months and get an idea of what that would be, and then I guess we could look up the,
Because there's
The
also
statutory.
billing for, law enforcement can also bill for accident response too.
okay,
So
And we
it
do
might
that-
be a,
combination of,
Mm-hmm.
you don't do that, Sheriff?
I don't, no, really.
Well, I think we should start.
I've never been in that situation.
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah, if you can get with Jerry and,
Yeah.
and y'all kind of looked at the
I'll,
last several months and then come up with what it would look like. And then
I'll
we
take
can
some
start.
of the reports, because, like I said, he was telling me that it doesn't have that list that we have.
Yeah, and if you
How
can put,
much you charge.
yeah, we can look at the
for
list
each
and all that.
things, yeah.
And,
Okay.
and then if you can let us know how they came up with that list, if it was through statute or if it's just something the
Okay.
county put together themselves.
Well, I appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Mr.
Any more
Adrian.
questions? Thank you, sir.
Okay, next, item 7, discuss the possible action for approval of Emily Grant to be hired as county extension agent, agricultural and natural resource effective. And I think she asked me to see if we could change the effective date. Ms. Emily, can you give us when you really want to start, or when you can start any petition?
I would like to,
Could you come up here?
Come up
so we
here.
y'all are fancy. Good morning, Commissioners and Judge, how are y'all? We are looking at possibly an April 18th start date, and that is dependent upon any holdups in College Station, but our DEA doesn't seem to think that there would be any.
Well, I'm glad to see you coming on board. You've done a phenomenal job in Kitty County, and I'm excited to see what you're gonna do with our program over here, so.
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to moving over and having a bigger county to work with. Like I said, y'all are already fancier, so.
Do we need a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve Emily Grant and to lower the local contribution to $15,000 per year, because the state will pick up the difference.
If possible, April 8th.
And to set a start date of April 18th, provided the AgriLife that works with A&M.
There's a motion, I need a second?
Second.
Second. Any more discussions or questions? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? No
Welcome
ayes.
aboard.
5-0.
Thank you,
Thank
guys,
you.
and I look forward to officially starting working on the 18th, and if y'all have any questions or need anything, just holler.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, next, says discuss possible action to consider memorandum of understanding with Johnson Controls to perform an infrastructure assessment and energy audit for Alberta County.
Good morning.
Good
morning.
Give me just a moment here, and I'll get set up.
I don't know if the screen is,
Tested it earlier and it worked, for some can't see without my glasses.
It goes, bzzz, that's the wrong one.
Remember that.
Okay. Well, earlier I just plugged it in before the meeting.
Oh, you need to turn
It worked.
turn the
TV on.
Yeah.
should be a remote in that box somewhere.
On the side.
Is Stephen around?
No.
There has to be a,
There's a button on there somewhere.
there has to be a turn on this button.
And they just called us fancy.
Yeah, they left before they saw her.
That was awesome, man.
Close.
Only makes the big
Something's
bucks.
happening.
Transfer him over to IT.
I don't know which one you're on.
Yeah. It'll be the last one we try, of course. Right, right. HDMI one? The one we haven't tried.
It's not this one. Right away.
Yep, Stephen made it look so easy earlier, did it?
I turned it on.
Okay, you're not going to IT.
Well, darn, I had a nice presentation, so I guess I'll just talk through it if that's okay.
Listen,
All right. My name's Richard Gibbons, and I work for Johnson Controls. And specifically what I do is I work with counties, cities, and school districts, helping them do infrastructure upgrades through self-funding projects. And what that looks like is, I talk to counties and cities and school districts all the time, and they'll tell me, Rich, we have this much deferred maintenance within a county. We may have older air conditioning, we have older lighting, we have things that are breaking, and the challenge is we don't have the money, available to fix all of our buildings. You guys have like 35 buildings when I looked at the list. So what we're able to do through local code 302, and it's been around since the 80s, is we come in and we do an energy audit of the county, and we look at the infrastructure. We look at the lighting, look at the air conditioning, look at that infrastructure, and see how efficient the buildings are running. And we look at the infrastructure that may need to be replaced. So I came out and walked around the buildings. You have a bunch of old air conditioning sitting outside this building and at the courthouse and over at this building that's 18, 20, 22 years old, right? And so what we're able to do is replace that equipment and use the energy savings to pay for that, right? And under the legislation, under the statute, we are contractually obligated to guarantee the energy savings. So, for example, the county is spending about $350,000 a year currently on your utility cost. And my analysis, let me jump over here, so I've got my notes in front of me. Give me just a second here.
It's a really nice presentation.
It is. Sorry, guys.
this is,
Stevie just told me to plug it in.
It has to be one or two, that's where it's plugged in.
Is it thing here? Turn off the little thing here.
I wonder if,
It was either one or two, was up there, one or two things.
But even the overhead is high.
like,
We need a couple of teenage kids.
yeah.
Not really even teenagers. Forget the teenagers.
A couple of kindergartners.
Which HDMI are we on now?
This is one, I'm sorry. Transfer request denied.
Sorry, guys, I apologize. So using $350,000 as a baseline, it's pretty common that we're able to reduce utility consumption about 20%. The range is anywhere from 15% to 30%. When you replace old equipment, typically old equipment breaks more frequently. I use the example of a pickup truck. If you got an F-150 with 300,000 miles on it, tends to need more repairs than a new truck, right? So your repair costs go down. So when you aggregate that, we would expect to see annual savings for the county of somewhere between $60,000 and $80,000 a year. When you put the equipment in, it has an extended life. So air conditioning will last about 15 years. New LED lighting will run you about 20 years lifespan. Well, if you aggregate those savings over that period, which the statute allows you to do, the county is looking at being able to do somewhere between $1 million and $1.5 million of infrastructure upgrade to your buildings and completely pay for it with the money that's already in the budget. So you wouldn't have to pass a bond. You don't have to raise tax rates. Right? You're able to take money that you're already spending that's in your expense budget, and you're basically taking expense dollars and making them a capital dollars. Essentially is what you're doing. So that's the essence of what I do. And if it's something that you're interested in to see what is possible for the county, then we would enter into a memorandum of understanding with the county. There's no financial obligation to the county, but it just allows us to come out and take a look at the buildings and do some engineering calculations and some analysis and come back and report to the commissioners, here's what we found, here's the savings that we think you could achieve, and here's the equipment that we say is at or near the end of life that you should be considering replacing anyway.
Well, I think it's worth looking at.
Yeah.
I mean, if there is a savings in there. But if it doesn't cost us anything to look at it, it's a good thing.
Yeah, it doesn't cost anything to look at because I don't know what savings potential is there without us coming in and looking at it. But we want the commissioners to say, yeah, if you guys can help us make improvements to our building and it's self-funding, we're definitely interested in it, then we'd like to come out and have a look.
Yeah, I'll make do we have a contract?
It would be, I would, with the court's permission, I would send a memorandum of understanding to the judge that would authorize for us to come out and do a
I'll
survey.
make a motion to move forward with the memorandum of understanding pending legal review of the memorandum of understanding.
Okay.
There's a motion, I need a second.
Second.
Second, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody, 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry about that technology.
I'll get it fixed next
He
time.
said the next time to unplug it and then plug it back in and don't mess with the TV. Just as long as it's on, it'll automatically turn on. The next time we'll know.
Mr. Owens, I asked Stephen, can I stay plugged in? He said, no, we have to use this. So he unplugged me and said, just plug it in when you get up here, and it'll work.
Yeah, the TV was turned on.
Unfortunately, I didn't believe, I believed him, and it didn't work out. So,
Thank you.
Okay.
thank you.
Still got what you needed.
Yes, sir, thank you.
All right, next we have item 9, discuss possible action on the acceptance of Lafayette Air Force Base of the Defense Control Center, Westgate Project, Corval Verde County, and release of payment to Albright Construction. And what this is we've been holding the last payment for Albright until all the tests are completed by Lafayette Air Force Base. And if they're willing to accept it, then we release the last payment. They are willing to accept it, and therefore, because they accepted, we now can release the last payment to Albright. So I need a motion for
Motion
that.
to approve.
Motion. Second, any discussion or question? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody, 5-0. Next is item 10, discuss possible action on approving reimbursement precinct 1 on money spent from a tax note on Escondido Water Project. Commissioner?
This is money that went over budget. It was not budgeted. It was on the grant. It came from precinct 1 tax note. And I'd like to make a motion that this money be refunded, and it's in the amount of $135,680.58.
Where are we gonna get, I'll second it for discussion. Where are we gonna get the money? What was the total cost of this project to the county? Our portion.
Our portion, the
That
best
we
we
have
can calculate
invested in.
right now is about 325.
So we spent $325,000 and we're serving how many people?
That I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know how many people out there.
Originally about 25 homes,
25 homes.
first phase.
Have we made any attempt to, try to work with the city to, assess a fee on the water bill to recoup that cost? That's $13,000 a customer is what it's costing us, not including the cost of the grant.
There was a dollar amount at one point that they came back to us and said that we could not charge, and then it was dropped. But we had run at the city. Ramiro had gone at the city to go talk to them, but then nothing else happened. It just like,
And this was a project that, you know, Commissioner Wardlaw inherited and had to be finished, and it cost us a lot of money, but I think that we should look at ways to recoup that cost, either through a fee through the water bill or by the creation of a public improvement district and, assessing a tax to recoup that cost to the county.
I think we did talk to the city manager, and he said he was gonna look into it, but he never got back to us.
And can we revisit that, Commissioner Wardlaw?
We
With the city?
originally requested $5 or $10 a month
Mhm.
per meter.
Can we revisit that with the city?
I think we should.
Commissioner set up a meeting, now we'll,
All right?
I mean, I understand the need to put the money back. I mean, this is money that was supposed to be for the precinct, so, what do we have in contingency?
Roughly 3/4. 780.
780?
Correct.
I still believe, I believe we need to reimburse it because this was an inherited project. It wasn't one that we started that went down that road. But, I believe that we need to find a way to get our money back on this project through either an assessment on the water bill or something.
The judge and I will talk to the city manager and see if we can get this thing off fast sooner.
there was a question of the legality of it, I think, 'cause that's how come it stopped.
I don't understand the legality. I mean, the county has the right, and I went and got the legislation passed for us to operate and charge for water and sewer services. So we have every legal right to do it.
That was the concern by the city manager.
When we,
That, I think they've talked to the city attorney about it, and that's what she came back with.
Uh-huh.
I'm not absolutely sure that that was their,
yeah, I think you're correct now.
that was their final answer.
I mean, we passed legislation several years ago that gave us that authority to do it.
I mean, they can go look at it again, but I think that was the outcome of the last time we all went, was that,
You know, and we're getting ready to spend another, what, $900 and something thousand out there?
942.
Planning,
Huh?
not construction, planning,
For planning only, no construction.
application.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any more questions or discussion?
What's the amount?
$135,680.58.
What was the motion?
To reimburse the precinct 1 tax note
Take it
from
out of
contingency for the expenditures on the water project out at Escondido. And, I'm gonna vote for this because I understand the situation of how we got here, but I don't agree with it 100%. We should have never got into this mess to start with.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody, 5-0. My next, item 11, discuss possible action to approve reimbursement of fees for precinct 4 on money spent in the community center expansion project for precinct 4 operating budget and tax note.
Judge, what happened here, we started that expansion and we had allocated $150,000. And at the end of the day, it was not enough money to complete the project. So I went ahead and put $50,000 out of tax note precinct 4. Then I used about $25,662 from my operating budget. And, you know, this center serves hundreds of people on a daily basis. It was much needed. It's a beautiful building at the end of the day. It represents the county well. And I think it's just fair that I get reimbursed on this money that belongs to precinct 4. I'm running low right now on my operating budget. And I have bought any equipment because, you know, I've got this $50,000 there on that expansion.
Commissioner, how much, what is it, the 50 or the 25, or what is it?
It's $75,662.57.
75 what?
662?
657.
57. Going to tell you I will not vote for this simply because when we went into this project, we asked the question. It was your decision to do this before we started. We knew going into this project we were short. I asked the question, are you willing to fund the difference? And you said yes, and that's where we're at.
Well, I had no other choice.
Oh, you had a choice. We could have rebid it, or we could have done something
Well, that's
different.
fine.
You know,
That's your
keep it within
opinion.
the budget.
That is your opinion, Commissioner, but I will make a motion asking the court to reimburse this money to precinct 4.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any more questions, discussion? Where are you gonna get that money from?
Contingency.
On those figures, I didn't run anything on those figures, and I just eyeballed that. Seems kind of high, but you're sure on those numbers?
Well, I think I got more money invested out of operating than that. But the $50,000, that's a for sure thing on a tax note.
Okay. If it goes through, can we revisit and get accurate numbers?
Well, he's asking for 75,662.
Mhm.
So if it goes over that, he's already asked for the 75,
And if it's under?
as long as we don't end up under that,
Right, and what if it's under?
then we need to come back to that.
Okay. All right, we'll get together and we'll,
No, that's fine. You can figure it out and let me know.
okay,
But I've got a list your office sent me
okay,
on the expenses.
But that's one way right now for him.
And these are accurate numbers.
okay.
Because you got it from the auditor's office.
Excuse me?
You got that from the auditor's
Yes, ma'am.
office? Well, I don't know numbers.
Oh, okay.
I'm just asking.
You got, what did you get from?
There you go. You want to look at it?
Absolutely.
You got reading glasses. They're probably better than mine.
I don't touch numbers.
All right. Today's from here.
Well, it is what it is, you know,
Okay.
and it just,
Absolutely. We'll dig
Black
into
and
it.
white
Got a
numbers.
motion, yeah, that's it.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any more discussion or question? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
All right.
4-1. Thank you. All right. Next, discuss possible action on having Joe Jackson assist with the water line on Norberty Road, rate pay to be reimbursable for text CDBG 7216075 grant.
Thank you, Judge. Morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Morning.
The county approached Esser and Company with the thought of Joe Jackson, who assisted the county, as you know, out here on the Escondido water line, to assist precinct 4 on the water line that's fixing to, initiated to be installed out there on Regularity Road. So I contacted the state agency, TDA, and I visited with them in regards to this concern or opportunity. And TDA said that that would be considered an eligible expense in his time while working on the water line to be reimbursable from the grant. We'd have to keep his time that he worked on the project separate and apart from the other precinct 4 employees. As you may know, the county has a $25,000 in-kind match as a commitment to this project, and that'll be met by the precinct 4 road department employees. We'll keep track of their time and equipment while they're working out there on the water line. I calculated that. I figured if they work out there 5 weeks, they will have committed and met that $25,000 match as far as their personnel in-kind match. So, should the county decide to move forward and decide to have Joe Jackson hired out there as to be a temporary employee working out there for the county on that water line, his time will be considered as an eligible expense, be reimbursed from the grant, and Commissioner Flores has funds remaining in his part of that project with the grant as it was split between precinct 4 and precinct 2. Precinct 4 still has some funds that are unobligated and can be used for that purpose.
There won't be any additional funds from the county.
No additional funds from the county. No.
It will be done within the bounds of the grant.
There's what, $30,000 left on that grant?
Más o menos.
More or less. That should be enough to cover him while we install that water line. And I'm talking maybe anywhere from 2 to 4 months. Now, my question to Matt is, or what is the pay that Joe Jackson's been getting from precinct 1?
$10.
A day?
An
An hour? I'm tired.
Yeah, not a week.
They,
Does that include fringe, Carl?
I'm sorry?
Is that reimbursable? Does that include fringe?
Yes.
They will reimburse?
It'll be the adjusted hourly rate, not his hourly rate, but whatever the rate is a day, we'll divide that by, we'll calculate that or assist the county in calculating that out, but it'll be his time, whatever his rate of pay is, plus any fringe that he's entitled to.
Yeah, he was at 150 a day. So
But, I mean, that would be, does that include everything? 150 a day?
that's gonna be before the fringe, so it's gonna be higher than
And the fringe is only the FICA?
like in retirement. That's-
Or we gotta pay him retirement
That's
too?
gonna be the reason, yeah.
So we'll whatever that calculation is, it'll be the rate.
So add 20.
Where are we gonna get the money to pay him, and then, so I can get reimbursed? I mean, from my payroll or from,
Well, we have.
tax note money or
We
what?
have working capital. that we can do that.
Okay. So I'll make a motion, asking the court to permit, Joe Jackson work for precinct 4 on a temporary basis at $10 an hour,
No,
no, it's not $10 an
it
hour.
was 150 a day.
150 a day.
Plus,
Could this be considered contracted labor?
Plus the fringe.
plus fringe.
Okay, 150 plus fringe, and, this will be a 2 to 4 months contract, not to exceed 4 months.
How about you put not to exceed the amount of money?
I would just, maybe amend that just to put in there, just to meet within the grant boundary.
Yeah, not to exceed the.
Okay, I'll add that, not to exceed the, outside the money within the grant.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody, 5-0. Thank you, Carl. All right, next we have item 13, discuss possible action on a request from Santa Rita Del Rio CISD to use the county courthouse for processing the election night results, to use the election equipment and supplies.
Move.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody, 5-0. Item 14, discuss possible action request by City of Del Rio for the use of county courthouse for assessing the election night results, use of election equipment and supplies.
Move.
So move. Need a second?
Second.
Second. Nothing else? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody, 5-0. And item 15, discuss possible action on the request of Alberta County Hospital District to use the county courthouse for the processing election night results and the use of electronic equipment and supplies.
Move.
So move.
Second.
Second. Any question, discussion? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody, 5-0.
Judge,
Yes.
we just had somebody come in the room Did we hire somebody?
I don't know,
No,
did
not
we?
yet.
Not yet.
All right, next. Item 16, discuss possible action regarding the general liability and workman's comp requirements for service providers doing business with Beverly County. Go ahead.
Judge Court. I requested a search for any orders that may have been enforced or done in the past through the county clerk's office, and that the results of that they were not able to find any orders that would tell us or guide us in this subject matter. And then we reached out also to our county attorney, if they were aware of any orders that we might have been directed to be following. And the county attorney said that they weren't aware of any as far as their office for the liability part, but there may be a statute on the workman's compensation part of it. So I'll bring it up to the court to consider an order.
Excuse me, Mr. Did we also contact TAC, see who?
We went, as we always do, we go through Mr. Cerny.
Okay.
Calls TAC. When it comes to these issues regarding general liability and workers' comp, there is a statute that when you do business with somebody, enter into a contract, go out for bids, they do require, the law requires that they have general liability and workers' comp. And what Mr. Muskis was talking about was the smaller, when people come for a short period of time, they're service providers. And so there is, like I said, there is a statute that requires that when you go out for bids or enter into contracts. So Mr. Cerny was going to call TAC to find out, and it's called passing the law. So Mr. Cerny has the ball now.
Mr. Cerny and I both contacted TAC and got 3 different opinions. And each one of, well, no, I'm sorry, 3 similar opinions.
Okay.
They had nothing to do with it, and they require the county not, that, on their end, they don't require us to hold anybody to any general liability. We're insured, we're covered through the pool, and it doesn't make a difference whether an electrician burns down a building or a bird burns down a building or whatever happens, that we're still got a coverage of a specific amount.
That'd be a huge benefit to commissioners and commissioners court.
Yeah, and
Our hands are tied.
But workers' comp?
The only information we were able to find, actually Mr. Cerny found it, and then you can elaborate on that, Mr. Cerny, if you'd like.
Thank you. As far as workers' compensation is concerned, I have not been able to talk to the lady at Texas Association of Counties that is the so-called guru of workman's comp up there. But I was able to research the law, the Texas Labor Code, Title 5, Section A, Section 46002, except for public employers and otherwise provided by law, an employer may elect to obtain workman's compensation insurance, meaning that it's optional. The question being, is workman's compensation insurance required under Texas law? It sounds shocking, but the answer is no.
But there is a provision in the law that says if you do work, if you have contracts with governmental entities, you are required to have workers' comp insurance.
Correct.
So that's where we are.
Yeah.
That if you enter into a contract with a governmental entity, you have to have workers' comp insurance. The question is with the smaller entities that are service providers, and so we're stuck without having an answer again.
And I think this came up, we had a sewer problem at the juvenile building, and we were having a hard time getting a plumber. The one that had all those things was real busy, so it took us 3 days to find somebody with that. So that's why we brought it up, because we do have a problem with small things that need to be done.
And so is the issue the general liability, the workers' comp, or both?
No,
They carry none of it.
they carry, workman's comp is the less carried of all the small.
We've gotten
Contract.
When we received the painting contract, or, I get sidetracked, people are talking. When we received bids, like to paint some of the buildings, it was both, either they either had workman's comp, or they didn't have general liability, or it just didn't have nothing at all.
Well, see, the general liability, there isn't really the issue, it's the workers' comp, it clearly states.
Well, most of the contractors, there was one guy actually carried workman's comp, but no general liability. Then most of them, if they did have insurance, carried the general liability and no workman's comp.
And you know, I'm getting a twitch with that workman's comp. It's workers.
Workman's comp.
So, our proposal is to waive some of these, and then we become liable. So if something happens, they break a window when they're doing something, they do something, we just pick up the tab for it.
That would be general liability, but if they break a leg.
They break a leg, then we pick up the tab for it.
Mr. Attorney has an answer.
Can I explain our coverage under general liability?
Well, I get that we have coverage for it.
Yeah, the general
The question
liability.
is why are the taxpayers picking up the cost of the coverage when the individual that is doing the work for us made the damage and we're having to pay to replace it? That's the issue. It's not about whether we're covered. I know that if they burn the building down, we'll be covered. But at the end of the day, you still have the issue that we hired an individual to do a job. He didn't have what he needed to protect the interests of the county. You know, I have this problem in my business. You know, I carry all of these insurance. It's very expensive. And you're going out and bidding and competing against people who don't carry it. And when something goes wrong, you're stuck with the mess that goes with it. And therein lies the problem. You know, I understand the issue of finding these people, but I mean, it does create a huge problem for the people that want to do it right and do carry the stuff that they're supposed to carry to protect the interest of their customer. It opens a door. So it has some potential problems, at least as far as I'm concerned.
The other issue that I have is that a lot of these companies that are bonded, insured, and this and that, they're all from out of town. Mm-hmm. And I believe in us keeping our tax dollars here locally, hire people from here. And we've been doing it for many years. We've never had any major issues. Now, this expansion on the community center bumped up the cost big time because of this.
See, it wasn't.
Because they have to bring people from Dallas, from San Antonio to do this and this and that. And that ain't right. I mean, to me, that ain't right.
So it's okay that we allow people to work on stuff, but if something goes wrong, we'll just let our insurance pick up the tab for it.
Well, I mean,
because there are contractors.
Cases
It's not about how many cases you've had. All it takes is one.
Well, yeah, I understand that.
There are contractors locally that do carry these insurances. There are contractors, and they do it to protect the interest of themselves and to protect the interest of their
client. Well, like on the
client.
expansion, there's a couple contractors, they didn't want to turn in a bid. I mean,
Well,
it was a smaller project for them, so it had to be a guy out of San Antonio. And he brought his people from over there. So where's our tax dollars going? They're not staying here, they're not helping the community growth. But then, you know, that's a legal matter on
Don't dump on me.
I mean, I think the councilor's right. The workers' comp issue is a legal matter. The rest of it we can waive unless it is a TxDOT project, because the TxDOT contract requires certain things. If it's a TxDOT funded project, then that's a whole different ballgame. Or if it's a federally funded grant project, that's a whole different ballgame.
So do we leave it the same or just leave it the way it's?
I mean, I understand the issue. It's impossible to find people that'll work on it. I understand the issue, but then, you know.
What did we decide, Ms. Anna?
Well, we decided that we don't have the answer for workers' comp. I mean, workers' comp. But the liability issues up to y'all, the general liability, and I would recommend that we do require workers' comp for now.
But the liability part, I mean, is there any way we could draw some sort of paper if we hire somebody to sign it where we're not liable and anything happens? They're in their waiver, yeah, something like that.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth the paper's written on.
That's right.
If one of their employees falls off.
Yes, we can draw up a paper that says that.
We could,
But it won't hold up.
Yeah, exactly.
So if we do this and they burn the building down, or whatever the case may be, then we're just gonna pick it up with our own insurance.
Like Tax said, we're fully insured.
The general liability that we're requiring right now is $1 million.
We can lower the amount. What I would suggest is we look at the differences versus, you know, if you're doing a $5,000 job, I understand you don't have $1 million liability. I mean, there has to be a way to balance that out.
Yeah, this kind of rules, I mean, they close down the doors to a lot of county projects that we have.
Small projects.
Small projects especially, I mean, you know.
Clearly understand the issue. I mean, I look at it from two perspectives. I own a business that has to carry all this and the expense, and I look at it from the point of what it costs us to do it from the county.
I tried to get a quick survey from the other entities, and only one responded, and that was the city, and they don't require any of it.
And most of them don't. I mean,
In that workers' comp or general liability?
Neither one.
Ooh.
And the school district wasn't able to find their information, so I was not.
I don't
didn't
think
get
they
it.
require it either.
I don't mean to throw them under the bus, I mean, just.
So we need to find a good solution.
The school bus.
Throw one to the school bus.
Yes, sir.
I think the issue is not with the big contracts, it's really the small service providers. That need to be done immediately. I believe the court can make a minimum amount, let's say anything less than 15,000 or something like that, not to provide any liability. I think we can get some kind of direction from the commissioners, what limit that you would say anything above that would be required, general liability and workers' comp.
Well, I think you
That's,
still,
we're just looking for direction.
I think up to $25,000 would be
Well, I'm just
considered a
sort of-
small project. I mean, anything over that, then it would be different. We look at it different.
How would we make that in form of a motion?
you still have a workers' comp issue though, no matter what the amount is,
No matter what the amount, exactly. No.
until we resolve.
So how would we make that in form of a motion for this?
Well,
Make it into a motion. We waive general liability on any project below
That sounds awful.
25,000 and, but still require workers' comp.
I'll second that.
I'm not making that. You don't know how to make it. You didn't hear I make it. You asked how to make it.
But I still think 25,000 is still a little bit too much. I think it's maybe 10,000 is too much.
all of the projects.
Yeah.
How much?
10,000.
Go with 15, Judge.
I don't have a problem with
He
it.
said 15. He
I
looked like
just
he
threw a
gave him
number
some
out there.
thought.
As an example, if we have somebody making some cabinets for us and it runs $10,000, well, they're the ones that come and install it.
Right.
You're like, okay, anything over, that's still, 10,000 is
I
too
think-
low.
Yeah, it's just,
Okay.
So
15 then.
we're waiving general liability, not workers' comp. And what about automotive?
Well, we're pending, information on the workman's comp.
We're pending information on the workers' comp.
What about automotive insurance? We require that.
I think we're making it too complicated at this
Yes.
point.
Simple.
He gave you the deal.
Gave you the motion, you just gotta make it.
Make the motion, Gus.
Why don't we wait until after executive session? That'll give Mr. Cerny a chance to call in.
Okay.
Okay.
Now
All
we're
right.
starting to act like the city.
All right. We'll discuss that later.
Okay.
All right, next, discuss possible action regarding Valverde County entering into service agreement with E-rate consultants Stan Wokowski.
Stan Wisconsin.
There's no, yeah.
Let's see. The E-rate program usually handled by our librarians.
Yeah.
And since we were working on the infrastructure for our communications and everything comes through the library, I inquired, or one of our service providers, Spectrum representative, brought it up to my attention and asked if we're taking advantage of the E-rate program. And I said, I don't know anything about it. I'd look into it. Found out that we haven't applied in the past, well, since Mr. Kishman left. I provided some information to the court, kind of showing history. Last time we applied was in 2014, and did not get any disbursements or reimbursements since then. or even that year. So therefore, I reached out or asked how we can apply for this, and the Spectrum said you need to find a consultant to submit your registration for the program and follow the following, instructions. So we did, and therefore, that brings us to entering into agreement to,
So we're gonna pay an individual to do a job that we're already paying somebody to do.
it could possibly look that way, sir.
We're gonna hire a contractor to do the job that the librarian has done years and years ago themselves. And now we're gonna hire somebody to do it.
Since 1998, the history shows that there've been multiple,
But it saves us quite a bit of money, so I mean,
up to 80% of your telecommunications.
no, I mean, we used to do this all the time, and we,
The consultant will take 30% of whatever is reimbursed to us.
which we anticipate to be, I know we had a number, we used to have a number on what we saved.
Some of we've had anywhere from $2,300 for 1 year up to $10,500 for another year.
30% of that.
Still a significant savings.
No, I understand we need to do it, but maybe we can add that duty to the librarian's job, so this is a 1-year deal only, right?
Every year you have to apply.
Yes, but I mean, this contract is only 1 year.
Yes, it's just for this one. And if it doesn't get, if you don't have any reimbursement or distribution, there is no cost.
Motion to approve for 1 year only and to make sure that this is added to the responsibility of the librarian.
There's a motion. I need a second.
Second.
Second. Any more discussion or questions? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody, 5-0. Item 18, discuss possible action regarding the purchase of 3 handheld metal detectors for judicial center at the price of $180 each to be paid from the county courthouse security fund.
Move.
So moved. Second. Any questions? Not all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Anybody opposed? 5-0. Thank you.
For the next one.
Okay. Next, item 19, discuss possible action regarding the addition of community center expansion space for the current cleaning contract for $350 a month.
It went down from 500?
From 500, then they went to 350, and I just received this, yesterday.
Now we're at 300.
To 300.
Yeah, I spoke to him, this weekend, I told him, no more than 300.
300 for additional, services to
How many
the
square-
existing and in
What do you mean
the,
existing?
expansion as well.
Well,
Additional service to existing. I thought we already did that, or do we don't?
No, we
They
had
don't
done
do
the
it?
expansion, we had done.
No, I meant the existing facility.
No, they do the existing.
Yeah, but they're just they're mopping twice a week. They're gonna mop every day of the week, plus the expansion.
Oh,
That's what he says on the
okay.
website.
What do you want to do?
Okay, motion to approve
At 300?
at $300.
there's a motion.
Second.
Second, any questions? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody.
When does this contract rebid?
August, at the end of the fiscal year.
Item 20, discuss possible action regarding the payment of purchase not complying with current purchasing policy.
Did everybody get a list? If not, I have copies.
Yeah, I got it.
It's getting smaller.
Yeah.
Okay. Need a motion?
That's the only precinct, was precinct 4.
Hey, hold on, where am I?
What are we spying on, Judge?
Something
Go
wrong.
buy spy glasses.
I think there's an error there somewhere.
That's from precinct 4?
How come we keep having these district judges with these?
They're all reoccurring,
They just don't do a PO?
like subscriptions, and they just don't
Forget
get the
to do a
PO
PO.
before the bill comes in.
I've got a question on building maintenance. What is that spyglass?
That was that contract we, $1,800, yeah. On last meeting, I brought in the contract that,
Where do they sell that stuff? I wanna buy some.
No, it was I think it was an auditing of, our phone service.
Okay,
Motion to approve.
Second.
motion approved. Second, any questions? Not all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nobody, 5-0. Item 21, discuss possible action to apply for and accept the 2018 HIDTA Initiative Grant Award G18SS 3088.
Yes, Judge, Commissioners, this is a reoccurring grant of the amount of $259,872. And it covers personnel, fringe, travel, supplies, and contractual work.
For overtime only?
Sir?
Overtime only?
No, sir, there's overtime included in.
That's what I mean, this
Yeah.
money's only for over, it's not to hire new employees.
No, these are people that are already on board.
This just
It's a
covers
reoccurring grant, yes.
their overtime money. Motion to approve.
Motion approved. Second, any question, discussion? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nobody.
Thank you.
5-0.
No, I have to go ask her all the same. Sorry about that, Judge.
5-0, you guys voted for it?
Voted yes.
Both of them? Okay, 5-0. Item 23, discuss possible action requesting Commissioners Court to approve budgetary amendment to transfer $2,000 from the postage line item to travel and training.
Are we not doing 22? John?
No. Oh, we're, remove it, we got 22. I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you, item 22 is to be removed at his request. All right, item 23, discuss possible requesting Commissioners Court to approve budgetary amendment to transferring $2,000 postage line item to travel and training.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, I'd like to transfer some money from my postage to the travel and training.
Or, you'll have a conference or
We have the annual conference.
and we didn't budget any money for travel and training? We didn't have a budget for travel?
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. I sent my chief deputy to take some courses. My 3 years ahead of me are very short. I'm preparing, one of my chief deputies. And since I will be having some money left over from my postage, I'd like to change it to travel and training. So at least two of us are able to attend.
Motion approved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any more questions? Not all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nobody, 5-0. Thank you. You guys want to take a break? Or
Yeah, let's take a break.
take a 10-minute break? Moving session now. All right, let's go to item 24. Discuss possible action on the installation of at least two panic buttons in the district attorney's office. Funds are not available from the JP Courtroom Security Fund and/or district courthouse security funds.
Why can't we get this out of courthouse security? You're on the courthouse lawn.
It is my understanding pursuant to the statute and pursuant to the funds for both the JP Courthouse Security Fund and the District Courthouse Security Funds that we are not covered by that pursuant to the statute. We've
Is
already
it
looked at
district
that.
courthouse security or county courthouse security?
Both.
It says building, doesn't say lawn, so we were building.
It has to be the actual building,
Has to be the
even
actual
though
building.
they are on the courthouse area, square, and are part of the county. Huh?
Unless you want to go for an opinion, we can do that.
Oh,
Somebody could ask me,
What do you think?
Nobody's asked me anything. so-
Okay. I was just.
Well, we've looked at it and we have it with our security meeting.
I'm asking the counselor.
Well, we'll have to look it up because this is the first time anybody's even mentioned it to me.
The approximate cost, gentlemen, if you're interested, is probably going to be between $500 and $600.
All right, I'm gonna make a motion to approve. And where do we have that we can get this from, Matt?
Contingency.
There's nothing left in contingency, we just spent all that, what else you got?
If you want to reallocate some expenses that are currently under budget or something like that, we can put, once again, put.
So is there any savings in salaries in the DA's office?
Not that I'm aware of, sir.
You started to say we do have.
Right, you have court discretion in your old tax note, the new tax note, you
Yeah.
have discretion. You got certain places you can unappropriate funds.
I've got one question.
Yes, sir.
The cost of the buttons, is that just the cost of the button? When you asked what they were gonna cost, did we make sure that it would transmit from there to?
Yes, sir, and we've discussed that with the sheriff's office. What we're trying to do is get in line with everybody else that has a panic alarm, a button alarm, so when we utilize it, it's gonna go directly to the sheriff's office. We don't have that, and we're one of the few offices that do not have it. As a matter of fact, I think Matt's office does not have it either.
I don't think the commissioner's office has one, does it?
We're supposed to. We had one in the.
Y'all don't, right?
No, we're supposed to.
If we do, I don't know where it's at.
So, I believe that the answer to that is yes, sir. It should cover everything.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with this, I'm just trying to figure out where we can get the money from.
All right.
I'll make a motion that we take it out of contingency pending, our counselors look at this. I still think you can take it out of courthouse security. I still think there has to be a way to do it.
We'll just make the motion and then they come back and get us later.
That was the motion. Out of contingency pending them looking at it. I still think it can come out of courthouse security.
Okay, there's a motion and a second.
I hope you're right.
If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Thank you.
Saying aye.
5-0, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next, discuss possible action to consider approval of 2 border security unit positions with district attorney's office to receive compensation for travel and per diem if attending the same training seminar. Approval is requested to cover all travel in the current fiscal year.
Yeah. What we have here, gentlemen, is we had an issue come up, recently, because we're going to training next week, both my DPU investigator and my new DPU attorney, and it was brought to my attention through Matt's office that the county policy is that if they're going to the same seminar, 2 individuals, that only one can get travel, is my understanding.
That's correct.
And so I'm asking for this to be an exception for us, and pursuant to our BPU grant, the one that we're on right now and the one that we just filed, we have 2 separate line items for both the individuals, so the money is there via the grant.
Are they going in the same vehicle?
Possibly. I don't think they are, to be quite honest, because
We can't pay one guy travel to go in somebody else's vehicle and give him money for something he didn't use.
That's correct. So what I'm asking for is to travel for both of them, because one lives in Eagle Pass and one lives in Kinney County in Brackenville.
Well, I mean,
They only get paid
you
travel
just brought it up.
here.
As long as they're going in separate vehicles. And
And it's coming out of that budget, right?
That is correct.
But they have to go in separate vehicles. We can't pay him to ride with the other guy.
I understand.
For his vehicle. If he does that, he will not.
Nobody wants to ride with me. I don't know what the problem is.
I can't help you there, but.
Okay,
I'll make a motion with the understanding that they have to take separate vehicles.
Might be because I want to give them more assignments when they travel with me. but-
all right, there's a motion and a second. Any more discussions or questions?
2 seconds.
Not all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Nobody, 5-0.
Thank you.
Item 26, discussion and possible action on increasing the base pay for the rate and second assistant district attorneys with the district attorney's office. The current base pay for the first assistant is $74,326.50, and the current rate for the second assistant is $63,987.50.
The reason I'm bringing this to your attention at this time is, is we're trying to get our base pay rate for both our first and second up. I'm not so much asking that it be done immediately or taking effect immediately. We're going to be asking that this be done perhaps and taken into consideration the next time we come around to our next fiscal year and we talk about budgets again. Right now, our current salaries base pay rate, as reflected in the item, again, is $74,326.50 for my first assistant, which is Mr. Andrade, and the second is $63,987.50, which is Mr. Parham. Both of these individuals have extensive experience, and I guess the argument can be made. I think Mrs. McCusker-Smith has had the same situation. It is very difficult for us to replace somebody at these low base pay rates. We have this It's a problem throughout the whole county with different positions.
What rate are
But
you
we're not
asking
paying
for?
them right now, that, we're paying them 100, right?
Yeah, but the base pay rates are, in other words, if I have to go out and somebody leaves, I only have a base pay rate of X amount. So my point is, and I think Ms. Smith has, how are we gonna be able to get somebody in here that's qualified to fill these people's shoes when they leave?
I understand, but Ms. Smith doesn't have the ability to give them additional funding.
Well, I understand.
What do we?
Start all over again.
Yeah, I don't want to have this conversation.
So,
I've been
I'm
to
just-
home for about a month now. I don't want to get riled up again.
I'm just asking for you guys to at least take it in consideration. I will be asking for...
You don't need any action.
I don't need any action right now. I wanted to bring attention, you're asking me, what am I gonna be asking for? I'm asking for $90,000 for my first assistant and $80,000 as base pay rate for my second assistant.
I think you should take him into consideration. There.
And you're gonna be asking for how much,
We're
Counselor?
asking for thousands and thousands of dollars. All over the
All
place.
right,
Thank you.
thank you.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day.
All right, next, item 27, monthly treasury report.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners. The report that you have is a preliminary report. It's only a formality. No action is necessary.
Okay, thank you. All right, item 28, human resource monthly report. Need a motion to accept one?
Judge, was there an addendum or something?
From her?
No, no, not. Okay.
No.
How come we got this? What is it? We just added?
These are the same ones, aren't they?
They're the same one.
Oh, okay.
That's the one she sent me to put in there.
Oh, okay, we just got it up.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's even got the same.
Yeah.
Number.
Okay. All right, you need a motion? Accept. So move. Need a second? Any discussions, questions?
By the way, item 28A is acceptance to hire Mr. Fuentes, who's right here. On my flip, this is my new first assistant county attorney, and I thought it was very rude of Mr. Owens, or Commissioner Owens, to disrupt the meeting when he walked in. And that's why he introduced him.
Oh,
You want to pull item A out and vote separately on that one?
Right. Well, I was actually gonna abstain because I voted against it.
You're mean. You already,
All right, there's a motion and a second. Any more question, discussion?
Who made the motion?
Mr. Woodward. Second by Mr. Owens. There's a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
You opposed? 4-1. Thank you. All right, item 29, county auditor's audit report. Go ahead. I think all of you have it already.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Morning.
Commissioner Flores declared that spreadsheet was not produced by the auditor's office.
But were the numbers right? Or are they low? I think they're low.
Well, the bad news is this spreadsheet wasn't produced by us, but we will get there and we will find out the figures. On this one, it did include a lot of computer equipment. Are you looking for just the structure, or are you including everything inside? Furniture?
Everything that came out of the operating budget, period.
Okay.
If it's nails, if it's whatever.
How are we to identify on the invoices that it was for the community center or if it was for your precinct?
That would be everything that he spent in operating over the last year. We'll just include it in the community center.
No, just from when the expansion, construction started.
We can meet on this.
Yeah, we can
Okay,
meet on
good.
that, don't get too technical right
Okay.
now.
The expense approval questions?
Any questions on that?
It's all good. Don't get too technical.
All right.
You know, the one that scares me is Aaron, because you come up there and what do you say? Go get him. It's like, is that necessary? I mean.
All right, I need a motion for accepting the audit.
Move.
So move.
Second.
Second, any questions? Not all those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody, 5-0. Okay, we'll now go into executive session. I'm sorry, before we go into executive session, for Government Code 551.071, parentheses A, 551.071, parentheses 2, and 551.071, parentheses 1, parentheses A. It's now 10:45, let's wait. And I think what we can do is, I need a motion to table the workman's comp.
Motion to table.
Second, motion to table it.
And then bring it back in a couple of weeks, Judge.
Yeah, bring it back in a couple of weeks. Okay, there's a motion, second, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody, 4-0. All right, now we'll go back to item 30. Anna McCoskey Smith requesting permanent and/or temporary part-time position for fiscal year 2017-2018 with available funds in salary budget fiscal year 2017-2018.
I have money and I need a position. And I don't know what kind of position y'all can give me, but I don't want a full-time position, but I need somebody that do clerical work for as long as I have money for, that y'all give me. And whatever, what Juanita's not here, I was gonna say whatever Juanita recommends or whatever Matt recommends, but I need help. So I have the money and, then I need help.
Where's the
That's
money
my very articulate pitch.
from? Where's the money? In the salaries?
I have salary money.
Yeah, there's about 32,000 salary savings this year.
And what are you paying the one you have now?
$10 an hour?
Correct, $10.
And you want to keep the one you have now?
Yes.
Or until $30,000 runs out? Or?
Well, whatever works. I don't know how those.
Don't we get
work.
into the issue of retirement and all that?
That's why I don't know how that works, and that's why I need help with that.
Where does that kick in? Or how does that work?
I think they said 1,000 hours.
900, is that?
So until he reaches 900 and something?
Yeah.
And we've already reached that.
No.
Not even close.
No, we're not there yet.
No.
The one that we had, the one you have now
Probably
is
won't
not
be there
there.
this year.
Huh?
Yeah, with the rate we're going, probably won't even be there this year, correct?
Yeah, but this is just for the fiscal year. And then when the new fiscal year comes, then I can beg some more. And then y'all can, if you need to, some more.
Okey-dokey.
Okey-dokey, as in the motion?
I'll make a motion to approve, not to exceed the, what was it?
32,000.
900.
Second.
There's a motion, a second. All those in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed?
I
Abstain?
oppose, yeah, I know I'm gonna oppose.
Opposed?
See,
4-1.
He's your favorite.
No,
and-
he's not.
And he votes against all of your
But
stuff.
people have the misconception that he's my favorite, but he's the one that takes up more of my time, and he's always mean to me. No, he is. He is. He's always voting no. You should go back and look at the record. Every time I ask for something, I'm gonna say like 90% of the time he votes no.
Judge,
So I don't
you
know why
took a vote on
people
that.
Okay. All right. All right, now let's go to item, did I miss anything else on the?
The item where he's always mean to me.
All right.
You gonna put that on the next agenda?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, next, item 34, any subdivision plats, Mr. Cerny? Any certificates of compliance? Okay, need a motion to approve the monthly reports for elected.
Move.
So moved.
Second.
Second, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody. Next, approval, bills to be for payment.
Yes, we have two bills, one for Veterans Office cable, and a travel request from DA's office.
And hers?
Pardon?
Oh, my $10?
The 50?
The 50, yeah.
$50. Did the court already have it, or?
No, I don't have
writing
any.
more checks, or?
I'm asking.
How did you know about it?
I know about everything.
Uh-huh. I thought Sonia had turned in the paperwork. It can wait.
Okay.
She didn't.
All right.
How did you know?
Motion to
that? That's
approve.
scary.
There's a motion. And there's a motion, I need a second.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody, 5-0. Thank you, Matt.
You gonna tell him, Roger?
Will you accuse me of being the one that's
You gonna tell him where to go?
To me too.
All right,
But I always vote for your stuff,
Not always.
just once.
Okay, there's
I'll
no
go back and
county
read all the
judge comments,
We'll look.
nothing else, this meeting's adjourned.
We'll look.